One day, a man was adventuring himself through a forest. He was trying to get back home. He lost track of time after a long walk. Since the man was not familiar with the area, and unfortunately for him, the day was quite foggy, he ended up lost. The longer he took on finding the way back home, the darker and colder it got. Eventually, the sun went down, and the fog became thicker. It became really hard to look around the forest, and the large quantity of trees did not help. The man pulled out his flashlight, hoping it would help improve his visibility. To his surprise, he was able to spot what appeared to be an old cabin. He proceeded to knock on the door, hoping that someone would receive him. But nobody answered. He tried once more, but just like the previous time, nobody answered. He knew that he needed shelter, and that it would be impossible to find a second cabin in the middle of the woods. He had no choice. He decided to enter the cabin one way or another, and if the owner showed up, he would try to explain himself as best as possible about what happened and hopefully receive help. Strangely, the door was unlocked. The man proceeded to enter the cabin. There was no light inside, and it was full of cobwebs, dust, and very few pieces of furniture, giving the impression that it had been abandoned for years. The man continued to explore the place with his flashlight, and as he continued to move forward, the sound of wooden floor cracking could be heard. Eventually, he found a room with an old bed and a blanket. He found some candles placed in that same room and a box of matches. He decided it was best to save battery from his flashlight, so he took one of those matches and lit the candles. With the room now a little more illuminated, sooner than later, the man noticed something strange. The room was full of portraits, but they were not ordinary at all. These portraits were disturbing. The expressions on their faces were unpleasant, even deformed, expressing a great amount of hatred, evil, and danger. The man felt as if those portraits were staring directly at him, making him feel afraid. He thought to himself, how was it possible that someone could have such a bad taste with decoration? The man decided to shake the blanket and remove the dust to be able to cover himself from the cold night and be able to lie on the bed. He knew those portraits would not let him sleep, since he could see each one of them from the bed. So he blew out the candles, he laid down, and in a deep darkness and victim of fatigue, he quickly fell asleep. The next day, there was light already. The fog had dissipated, and the sun rays illuminated the cabin. The man woke up and headed himself towards the exit. However, as he approached the door, he suddenly stopped. His heart rate went up. He started to cold sweat, and he felt true fear when he realized there were no portraits in that cabin, but many windows.